Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse, EJ Menswear and Shamrock Thoroughbreds.
As they race up the hill towards the finish, Hark the Herald here on Paddy Byrne has absolutely bolted up under Paul Town, and Paddy Byrne won by wide margin. On the final 150 yards, it's Irish point for Marine National, who's coming with every stride. They're going to the line. Irish point, Marine National on the near side.
If you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, as it helps to get horse racing content out there to the wider audience. We look forward to reading all your hashtag 5cast selections in the comments section below. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome along. We're a little earlier in the week this week, but that's all because the Goffs Thyestes Chase Day, the big one at Gowran Park of the year, takes place this Thursday. We're looking forward to being on course on Thursday. We've got such a great show lined up. We've Patrick Mullins. We've so many guests to get through. We've Henry Beeby, and we have so many great people to talk to ahead of the Goffs Thyestes Day. And of course, here at Champ.ie, Barry, we have fantastic show lined up with free charity bets, which we're going to donate all the winnings to. You're going to tell us about that. And we've also a couple of tickets as our competition to give away. Fill us in as we kick off a super show.
Absolutely. Hollis Street's course, the Hollis Street's Foundation, National Maternity Hospital Foundation. We're going to donate. Boylesports kindly, David, have put forward €50 free bets for each of our, I suppose, special guests. So a selection in the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025. We look forward to previewing it ourselves. Look at some of the guests there, as you mentioned. Really looking forward to the show. Patrick Mullins, Brendan Hennessy, of course, the famous Casey Illahar, Brendan Hennessy, Kevin and Ryan MC at Gowran Park as well. Charlie Carter. We have the famous brothers, Bubba and Busty Amond, Father Paddy. He went viral on the show last season. And of course, we're going to hear from Paul Nolan as well. I did say to Paul, maybe he might give it a rendition of Boule of Vogue for all the Kilkenny lads in the house. But Eddie Scally, first guest on the show. Brilliant to have you, Eddie. And I suppose, how are preparations going ahead of Thursday?
Yeah, hi lads. Everything is going to plan so far, thank God. Track is in very, very good condition. Clerk of course, Paddy Graffin was with us today, done his inspection. The official going, he's described it as soft. His words were he hasn't seen it as nice for a Thyestes meeting in a long, long time. So it's all systems go. I know you have Alan O'Reilly coming up a little bit later on with the weather forecasts on it as well. So like everyone else, you know, we're anxiously watching the weather as well. There's storms around, but please God, they're going to miss us Thursday. They won't be up late Thursday evening. We'll be well finished by then. But from our perspective, everything is really going to plan, and I'm just really excited about the day now.
Because I know there's lots planned for the day itself.
Yeah, look, you know, we're asking for everybody to try and get here as early as they can. You know, the first race on the card isn't until just after 1 o'clock, but our gates are going to open at 10:30 in the morning, actually 11 o'clock in the morning. Gates will be open, buses coming out from the Castle Gates into Kilkenny City at 11 a.m. We've got the Champ.ie crew. You guys are going to be running through the card from 12 noon on all the big screens and all the internal televisions. The music is going to kick off on the balcony bar from that time. And literally from 12 noon right through until 7:30, we have a full schedule of entertainment right across all the bars and restaurants, culminating with Mickey Joe Hart and After Dark performing live, doing a concert in the O'Driscoll's Whiskey Marquee. So it's an action-packed day of racing, and all I could do is advise anyone coming to Gowran Park on Thursday, get out early, leave yourself that little bit of time to get here, get to Gowran Park nice and early, get your car parked up and follow the direction of the stewards. They'll get you into the nearest car park and we'll get you up to the track as fast as we can.
Absolutely. And Eddie, the declarations, of course, out this morning for the big race. It looks a really good renewal.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's going to be a very even race. It was kind of, you know, sometimes you'd see a standout horse. Maybe that's Shannon Royale, I think it is, for Gordon Elliott. You know, as a novice, could be an exciting novice. Thyestes has a tendency to throw up something like that. Again, on the Gordon side, will do down at the bottom of the weights after sneaking in there. Could be another one after running well at the Paddy Power. Willie going for a 10th. Thyestes, of course, he's got Glenn Gooley and Nick Rocket. Look, it's going to be a wide open race and a very exciting one as well. And looking across the card, it looks like there's going to be lots of really competitive racing. And the Galmoy Hurdle, I mean, you know, what a select field of horses coming into that. It'll be interesting to see, is it going to be a match between Hidden Valley Lake and Buddy One, or is Asterion Falange going to finally put it all together and win a big pot like the John Mulhern Galmoy Hurdle?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, Eddie, it's still not too late for people listening to the show to get online, get their tickets, spare, a bit of queues maybe at the gates when they arrive on Thursday. Tell us a little bit how maybe people can get the tickets for Thursday.
Yeah, the tickets, we always advise people to buy tickets online. I do wonder sometimes why people aren't more, up to speed of buying these things online, because everything else is online at this stage. But from our perspective, it's much easier if you buy your tickets online. But not only that, it's also cheaper. We still have our early bird offer. The early bird offer is going to run until midnight on Wednesday. So if you buy your tickets online, you don't have to queue. You can just walk in, hit any of the 11 scanners, and you're straight in the entrance. But as always, and some people insist on it, we do take cash on the gate. Tickets are available on the gate. But the best value and the fastest way to buy your tickets, www.gowranpark.ie, and just click the buy tickets link.
As I say, cash is king, Eddie, and I suppose courtesy of yourself, the competition on this year's show for 2 pairs of tickets to the Goffs Thyestes Chase. You've kindly put them forward, Eddie, and we're going to announce a winner on, of course, Wednesday evening late of the winner of the competition. And I suppose all viewers have to do, put your selection in for a chance to win your selection at the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025. Let us know down below who you think is going to win the race. And tell us why as well. Make a compelling case. And Eddie, thanks very much for your donation of 2 pairs of tickets. Good competition for viewers who maybe don't want to pay.
No, this is it. Nobody wants to pay, unfortunately. That's the way the world is. But look, I think we're offering a great value day out for everybody. And that's my honest opinion. I've never seen a lineup like it for a Goffs Thyestes Day. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be hugely exciting. And I want to wish yourself and Dave tonight, Barry, the very best of luck with this preview show. You've got some far more important and better guests than me coming up, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of this show with great interest to see if they can find me a winner.
Right, well, the weather is going to have a massive part to play for Goffs Thyestes Day, and we are delighted to be joined by Alan Riley from Carlow Weather. Alan, give us the news for Thursday. What's the weather going to be like?
Well, it's going to be very mixed. It's going to start off very wet. You're probably looking at 3 to 5 millimeters in Gowran at the morning time. But the good news is that most of that rain and showers will clear by the time they're in the parade ring for the first race. Now, there is still a chance of a shower, but generally good sunny spells. It is going to be bitterly cold. The wind chill is going to be about -1 degrees, and it is going to be very breezy. So you're looking at a westerly wind, probably sustained 20 to 25 kilometers an hour, gusting 60 kilometers an hour, maybe even a little bit higher. It will ease off as you go through the day, but still quite strong until probably last race. So it's going to be a cold one, wrap up. But the best news is that most of the rain will be gone by the time the first race starts.
Well, thank you very much, Alan, for joining us. And we look forward to a great day at Goffs Thyestes Day. And thank you for the update on the weather for Thursday. Yes, big thank you to Alan Riley there from Carlow Weather. Good news, the weather isn't going to be too bad on the day of Goffs Thyestes Day, and we are delighted to be joined by Father Paddy Byrne. Father, it's wonderful to have you on the show once again on our Goffs Thyestes special. Looking forward to another great day out on Thursday.
Absolutely. I think it's a real highlight of the year for people, especially from Carlow, Kilkenny, the southeast. For me, it's the official start of spring. And there's nothing like the National Hunt, those who know and love it, and it always secures a huge turnout. And I'm really looking forward to it. If you don't mind, just before we go to talk about the actual races, which are the main event, just to congratulate Barry, because I was very much in touch with Barry over the Christmas on the wonderful good news of a healthy young baby Theo. What a gift, and what an opportunity for all of us engaging in this process to support, and I know it's very close to Barry's heart, the really wonderful work that's done in Holles Street Hospital. And in Holles Street, baby Theo was brought to new life, so to speak, and brought out of a few moments there where he was very critical, where he's warmly at home with his mammy and daddy. So well done, Barry, and continued health and blessing to baby Theo throughout the new year.
Absolutely. And Paddy, just obviously the charity bits on the show are going to be for the National Maternity Hospital in Hollis Street, and echo everything you said. You know, the staff up there, absolutely brilliant. And we have a little, I suppose, GoFundMe page, which is, of course, named If Theo Can, and it's donated all proceeds, of course, to Hollis Street. And so the link is going to be in the video description down below. So if anyone can spare anything at all for the hospital, it obviously goes to a fantastic cause, and they do super work. And we look forward to, I suppose, earning some additional funds, Dave, with our bets on the throughout the show.
Yes, absolutely. And we're giving everyone, of course, Boylesports and Sharon McHugh and her team have very kindly given €50 free bets to all our guests on the show. And hopefully we'll have lots of money come the end of Thursday evening. Paddy, let's talk to you about Goffs Thyestes Day, because we've had we're hearing from so many people on the show today about the great day, the atmosphere, the build-up, the day itself. Take me through your routine for Thursday. What will be the morning and the lead up to the racing and through the course of the day?
Well, I think it's essential if you're going to have a good day out that you have a good breakfast. So I think the good old fry up at 10 o'clock, I think it's ordered for. And then in order to enjoy the breakfast, you have to wash it down. So I think that's really important, so that you're nice and calm and about to enter into Gowran. We're lots of people you meet occasionally or just the one day in the year. And listening to Carlo weather there, it looks like, please God, it'll be a cool but bright day before the storm comes on Friday morning, which many people might feel after a full day out in Gowran on Thursday, regardless of the weather. I'm conscious of that little gift in terms of making a tip or a bet for the Hollis Street occasion, which is really important. So I think one thing over the years I've sort of noticed is a horse that's going to run well. And by the way, isn't it fantastic to see so many actual horses running? I was looking at Windsor last weekend, and it was appalling to see so many fine races with 3 and 4 horses running in it. These are big, big fields. But one thing these horses will need is stamina, because the ground will be soft and the ground will be testing. And I think stamina comes to mind. And I think for the big race, it's very hard to overlook Gavin Cromwell and how well he's doing in the National Hunt at the moment. And I think Man is a very solid performer. But me, who might like to make a bigger contribution to that charity, quite likes an outsider, the same weight, by the way. It's a Willie Mullins, as he has many horses running in that race and throughout, a horse called Glen Gooley. And I'd like to make that little tip and to put it on that horse or on that big race. But regardless to the race, wish everybody a safe arrival, to thank these two lads. We're only 7 weeks out, by the way, from Cheltenham. Imagine 7 weeks out from the biggest festival of the year. So it's a great time of the year for the National Hunt, and to pray blessing on all who go, particularly all jockeys and indeed all the horses as well. And again, fair play to you and to everybody involved in Gowran. It's a wonderful place to be, and look forward, please God, to be there.
And Paddy, just obviously, we were actually down at the winning post when Glen Gooley very nearly won the Goffs Thyestes Chase last season. So best of luck with him. But I suppose hopefully we'll have some fun on course once again. We might see in the tent after dark Mickey Joe Hart playing there, and maybe we might ramble into the Casey Laura van as well, live on course. We'll hear from Brendan Hennessy, of course, later on in the show. But I suppose we know you're a big National Hunt fan. You mentioned Cheltenham. We're getting close now. Horse for Cheltenham 2025. What are you going to give us?
Well, I think there are so many options. And at the moment, the certainties of the Irish horses aren't being as predictable, perhaps, as we would have been in previous Cheltenhams. And perhaps that's not a bad thing. But the one that would certainly make my heart beat a little bit warmer on the Wednesday in the 3 Mile would be another Willie Mullins horse, owned by the Slaney Syndicate, Lecky Watson. Lecky Watson has been thereabouts in the last 2 previous Cheltenhams, 4th place in the Champion Bumper, and has 2 wins over the last, since the 17th of December in Naas, and a mighty, mighty win, beating huge company in Punchestown. And at the moment, he's 12-1. Now, I guarantee you on the day, he'll be lucky perhaps to be 6-1. And I have a strong...
That's where we row in, Paddy.
I have a strong sense that Lecky Watson 2025 is the year of that great jumper. And by God, he's a stayer. He will love the competition. He won't be found wanting. And please God, we'll be there to shout him on.
Fingers crossed, Paddy, and we're looking forward to Cheltenham. We're looking forward, of course, to the great build-up with the Thyestes, the Dublin Racing Festival, and that whole excitement that brings us all National Hunt supporters great joy over the next 7 weeks, as you said, to the build-up to it. Paddy, look forward to meeting you on Thursday, and look forward to the day itself. And again, we thank you for coming on the show with us this evening.
Okay, and God bless everybody. Take care.
Look forward to the breakfast in Glendon's, Paddy. 10 a.m. See you there.
Say hello to baby Theo Barry.
I will, of course, Paddy, and thanks very much once again. We'll see you on course for a couple of whiskies.
Barry.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Yes, delighted to be joined on the Goffs Thyestes Chase preview by, of course, local. And Patrick Mullins, the first question for you is, what does it mean, I suppose, to everyone at Close Sutton, to yourself, the Goffs Thyestes Chase? How would you describe it?
Oh, look, it's the first big date in the diary every year in the calendar in January. So, look, it's our local Grand National. Going back to my grandmother and my grandfather, I saw what it meant to them going racing with them as a kid, and that's obviously followed on to my father and onto my own generation.
And I suppose the day itself, Patrick, not just the racing, but what do you think makes the Goffs Thyestes Chase Day so unique in the Southeast?
Oh, well, look, I think the fact that it's midweek is a huge thing. I mean, it's on a Thursday. People take the day off, take the time to go. Jesus, if you're not there an hour before the first, you get stuck in traffic for a half an hour. There's always a great, which I always think is a good sign, as much as it might be annoying at the time. And I just think it's that midweek thing. It's not taking on anything else. It has a great history, great tradition. And there's always a great atmosphere there. I think the Racecourse and Eddie Scally deserve huge credit. They always get live music. It's just a fantastic day out.
Yeah, I think it's Mickey Joe Hart and After Dark playing in the tent afterwards, Patrick. We might catch you maybe for a beverage maybe afterwards. We'll see how that goes. I suppose the race itself, look, Willie and I suppose the team at Close Sutton going for Thyestes number 10, I believe. That'd be a fantastic story if you guys could achieve it. Tell us about your, I suppose, the declarations for the big race itself this year. 5 decks.
Yeah, we've got 5 in it. All different types of horses. Nick Rocket obviously is up near the top of the weights. Paul has chosen him. He's that second season novice, which is the type you like to go into these races with, that maybe might be a little bit unexposed. He had a cracking run, first run of the season in the Paddy Power Chase at Leopardstown, just giving best late on. Sean Cleary claimed £7 off him that day. And it looked like just the lack of run told. So that run puts him bang there. And obviously his last run last year, he was third in what used to be the old Whitbread in Sandown. So has the relevant experience for the big handicap chase. 11 stone 11 is a lot of weight. But the Thyestes is a race where, horses with 11.5 stone or thereabouts can win. So looking at him in the ring, if you see him in the ring, he's a very small, narrow type of horse. You wouldn't think he would carry these kind of weights, but look, he has in the past, and Paul's obviously chosen him, so he's the number 1. I'd say it was a bit of a flip of a coin for him, though. I think Glenn Gooley was second in this race last year, ran a cracker. He's only £1 higher, and Willie's chosen to claim 7 off him with Sean Cleary Farrell, who obviously is a local rider. And Sean is a young guy. He's been with us now for a couple of years, ridden plenty of winners for us, but great value for a 7. So this will be a huge opportunity for him. And Glenn Gooley has plenty of experience, perfect for a rider like Sean, and obviously showed last year that this type of race suits him. So with the £7 claim, that brings him right into contention. Then the other 3, obviously McDermott won the Scottish National. Danny gave him a fantastic ride last year when we were counting every penny of sterling we could. So look, it's hard for these horses to win 2 major handicaps. McDermott, and obviously the Scottish National is ran on good ground as well. So I think McDermott might be one, maybe once the ground dries up, to come into his own. And he's also a horse. He's a gross horse. If you look at him in the ring now, he's a big, wide sort of fella. He needs plenty of racing. So he's a horse to improve as the season goes on. And then the last 2 have been both a little bit disappointing. Spanish Harlem with Michael O'Sullivan. we always thought there was a big race in him, and he's ran relatively well in a few races, but to be honest, he's been disappointing. But he's getting into the bottom of the weights. That has to be a help. We're hoping that there's a day in him rather than expecting. And then Clark Kent, he gets in with 10 stone 2, and I always think when you see one of our horses right down the bottom of the weights, they have to come into contention, particularly on a local track. I always think there is something with local tracks and trainers. I think it's a help to horses. So he was 4th in the Scottish National as well. And if you were looking for one at a big price, I just thought Clark Kent with 10 stone 2 caught the eye a little bit.
Quick word for Asterion Furlonge in the Galmoy, a race that Willie has a tremendous record in.
Yeah, so look, he's been a superstar. He's been with us now for years. He's caused plenty of people pulling their hair out and fired a few jockeys into the turf with his wayward jumping at times, but he's the ultimate professional now. Look, I don't think soft ground is really his thing nowadays. It looks a very competitive race, a big field. We'd be hoping if you could finish the money, that'd be great. But again, for me, he's one that as the ground dries out, he'll start to come into his own.
And that beginner's chase won last season, of course, by tactical move. Willie Mullins and Team Close Sutton very well represented in the beginner's chase on Thyestes Day this year once again.
Yeah, look, we have a host of novice chase this year, so we're having to run 3 or 4 or 5 even in some of them, which is great. Very competitive racing. Western Diego, I thought, ran very well. At Christmas, Brian Hayes rides him, and he's not. I wouldn't forget about him. Chapeau de Soleil was obviously just touched off in Leopardstown as well. Sean O'Keefe gets on him, and he won the big handicap hurdle at Punchestown last year. So they're 2 horses that they were point-to-point winners, and they've improved. I think chases will improve the 2 of them. Chapeau de Soleil was a horse I thought was a champion bumper horse at one stage, and he's been a bit of a slow learner, but I think he's starting to realise the potential now. And you're going to have to actually remind me what Paul is on. It's after slipping my mind here.
The Bourbon was finished behind Chapeau de Soleil.
The Bourbon, the Gigginstown horse, who was just behind Chapeau de Soleil in Leopardstown at Christmas. Didn't jump fantastic that day, and has done plenty of schooling since. He'll school better, but he's not what I would call a natural. And if I had the choice myself now, I think Sean O'Keefe's on the right one. Chapeau de Soleil, just being an ex-pointer, he's the one I'd like to be on.
And I have to ask you, but before letting you go, about Lossiemouth, do you think she can reverse the form of Constitution Hill?
Well, look, I suppose we all came out of Christmas very disappointed. Not more because of the result, but the way in which she raced. And, I think, people are saying maybe she hasn't gone this fast before and they were putting up this and that. But I mean, like, she should be able to lie up with lump sum, and she wasn't able to lie up with lump sum. So to me, that says she wasn't at her best. There was something amiss for some reason. I know the traveling at Christmas, they had to leave a day or 2 earlier than normal. It wasn't great weather, and with the port down, maybe just to travel over wasn't perfect. I think if Constitution Hill is at his best, I think he's unbeatable. But the Constitution Hill I saw at Christmas wasn't him at his best. He looked mortal, and I'd like another go at him.
On the eve of the Dublin Racing Festival as well, apart from the obvious horses from Close Sutton, a young horse maybe that you're looking forward to seeing at the Dublin Racing Festival, which is on the horizon.
Oh, well, I mean, look, there's too many unknowns at the Dublin Race Festival, the way that the race programme is there. But look, I think we schooled Kopek the Boars today up the Curragh, and he jumped very well. And I think, while I think his performance had to be hugely marked up at Christmas, he didn't jump at all. So I just think he has an enormous engine, and I'm hoping that whatever happened to him at Christmas, he seems to have got his confidence back, and he just could be as good as any novice out there.
And finally, obviously, from a local perspective, this obviously is the Goffs Thyestes Chase Preview 2025. Last year, we had Lara Byrne on the show, big part, of course, of the Sladyville Syndicate. And Lecky Watson, obviously, this season so far, 2 from 2 over the larger obstacles. How impressed have you been with Lecky Watson? And how far do you think he can go over fences?
Yeah, it's made a man of him. Look, he's always been a little bit headstrong and a little bit lacking in concentration. As a bumper horse, he was always very keen. If you put him out in front, he's looking around him, but if you put him behind, he's always been quite numb and fighting you. So fences, because there's more fences in a race than there is hurdles. They give them something to concentrate on, and they make them more manageable, make him race more efficiently. So obviously his jumping is going to have to tidy up a little bit. But, I wouldn't think he's a million miles away from being a good each way bet in the Brown Advisory. And he is the type of horse that could come back and be a Goffs Thyestes horse in Gowran next year, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, Patrick. I think I've booked off work Davidson in the background for the Wednesday at Cheltenham. So fingers crossed Lecky Watson can go all the way and run a big one in the Brown Advisory in March. Patrick, brilliant talking to you. Look forward to meeting you down on Thyestes Day. And thanks very much for your time as always.
Great. Thanks very much, guys.
Yes, well, the show moves on, and we've got two great racing men on with us now, and Busty and Bubba Amond. And earlier today, I was asked, when you're talking to the lads, will you get to the bottom of where their nicknames came from? Bubba, can I come to you first and where you got your nickname?
Yeah, mine is easy. You can blame Jim Carey for mine in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. There was an elephant. He jumped on an elephant's back and said, "To the jungle, Bubba." So the boys thought that was hilarious, and we're going to call Niall Bubba. So that's at least 30 years, if not more. It can only be in 15 or 16. It took a long time.
Busty, where did your one come from?
Mine, when I was a young lad in Willys, I used to get nosebleeds every week. So from a horse burst, and that was it. Busty became the norm then after that, and it just stuck.
You're not joining us from Barbados this evening, Busty. It looks like with the sun shining in the background and the waves coming in there. Where are you joining us from on the show today?
No, definitely not Barbados. Just at home here in Rush. So, no, it's only the likes of Kevin O'Ryan and these boys that have a couple of jobs can afford to be away this time of year in them places. But Rush Beach will have to do for me now for the time being.
Yeah, well, we'll get to Kevin O'Ryan. Of course, he's joining us on the show as well, and I do think he might be coming to us from Barbados. We'll find that out later on. Lads, firstly, Bubba, if I can come to you, Gowran Park, Thyestes Day. It's a special day. Talk us through some of your earliest memories from going to Gowran on Thyestes Day.
Oh, yeah, no, that was a special day. We were always taken along. So it's a local meeting. We're up in Ballygown between Loughlin Bridge and Carlow, so it was a local meeting for us. We're going from a young age. The first horse I can remember with any connection to would have been Nuaf for Pat Fahey. Sean O'Donovan rode him. We would have been in there when we were chaps, 14 or 15, mucking out with weekends. I'd have been mucking out. Busty would have been riding out. But that was the first connection with any horse. He won around 94, 95. He won the Thyestes. So that's my earliest memory of a connection to a horse,
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Bubba, you're involved in racing all your life. You've given an awful long number of years with Jessica Harrington since you've moved on and you're working with Emmett Mullins. And you've had, you've seen some great horses down through the years with your work involved, and obviously on Goffs Thyestes Day as well.
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Harrington had the best of horses in both codes. I was there for 14 years. Before that, I was with Ruby for about 10 years. So I got to see a lot of good horses in my time. And Emmett has some real class horses as well for Cheltenham and Aintree, all them high class horses for good meetings,
And Busty, if I can come to you, it's obviously, a busy time of year. We're into the new year, very much counting on for Cheltenham. You're a big integral part of Gordon Elliott's team up there, and you've got quite a strong entry for Goffs Thyestes Day and quite a number of runners on the card on Thursday to look forward to.
Yeah, it's always a race Gordon and target. So every year he'd have plenty of runners in it. He's won it a couple of times now, and I'm sure he'd love to win it again. So it's even the whole card, but it's always the Thyestes is always one. He'll run as many as he can that suits the race. They're the ones you want to win. Them big handicaps, they're worth plenty of money, and they're races everyone talks about, so they're the ones you want.
Now, talk us through the runners that Gordon has in the race, and what do you like of the Gordon Elliott runners for the big one on Thursday?
We've the 6 in it. Look, there's any amount of them. You could give them all chances. I'd probably, if I was to go with one, I'd probably go with Will Do. But we've any amount of chance in it. Favre de Chamdou would have a chance with Josh Williamson claiming off him. I think Norman won the race probably before Josh was even born. So it'd be nice for Josh to go and win something like that. But we have Stuzzikini would have a chance. Where it all began, even though he's a P beside his name, he looked like, for all you could see, the Welsh national, he looked like he might be going to win it the last day and made a bad mistake. So he has a right chance. Stuzzikini. Look, they all have some sort of a chance. If I was to go with one personally myself, I'd pick Will Do. But you'd like to think you've a few good chances in it.
And else of the other runners on the day, what are you most looking forward to maybe in the best chance of a winner from the team on Thursday?
And Hurston, the first was disappointing the last day, but he'd have a chance back to himself. And maybe the bumper horse, 4-year-old bumpers are hard. You've no form to go on, and they're only babies. But the bumper horse is a nice horse. You'd be hoping he'd go close.
And Bubba, if I can come back to you, your thoughts on the big one on Thursday. What do you like in it? What's sticking out for you?
There's not really sticking out for me. I do fancy one of Eddie Harty's that Ricky Doyle rides, Grandero Bello. He won in Galway. The ground won't be an issue for him. He won on real background. He won his beginner's chase down there at the Red Mill Day, I think, 2 years ago. He ran a great race the last day in Newbury as well. I thought he'd have a great chance. And if Pat Fahey's Stormy Judge got in, she's first reserve or he's first reserve. If he got in, he'd certainly have a chance. Ran winning it last year.
Boylesports. Don't just bet. Choose wisely.
Yes, and before we get the charity bets from both Busty and Bubba for Thursday, kindly sponsored by Boylesports, Sharon McHugh and our team, a big thank you to her. Barry, you're going to talk us through your thoughts on the opener, the 2 mile Connolly Red Mills Maiden Hurdle.
Yeah, it's a race, David, that I thought Belle de Tigress was one definitely to mention. Was a real eye catcher, Belle de Tigress for the Henry de Bromhead team. Love a winner, of course, on Goffs Thyestes Chase. They're winning connections of the race last season, Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore. Let's see, can the team up in the opener? That would be my pick in the race. Thought it was a big eye catcher at Naas last time. Hit the line very, very hard. And you'd have to think, look, she was third to Baby Kate. That reads decent form. I think this is the best form on offer heading into that opening contest, the Red Mills Maiden. And gets weight from the geldings. So I know you're very keen, Dave. I think you said to me off air the nap pick of the entire day, Belle de Tigress. And I'd have to agree with you in terms of the opening contest. I thought would be very, very hard to beat.
Well, I'll put it like this. If it doesn't win, I'll be tapping up Bubba for a loan of 100 or 2 for the rest of the card on Thursday. He might be able to help me out. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker, the opener. Right, lads, coming back to you. We've got a €50 charity bet. And, of course, all proceeds are going to go to Hollis Street Hospital. Great cause, great charity. They do wonderful work each and every day. Bubba, if I can come to you first with your €50 charity bet kindly given to us by Boylesports for Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Grandero Bello in the Thyestes. I definitely 50 winning him, please.
Lovely. And Busty, your charity bet for Thursday?
I'll go with Will Do in the big race.
Well, perfect, lads. Listen, it was great to have you on the show, and we look forward to seeing you down at Gowran Park on Thursday, and it should be a cracking day. And Busty, you can get the top back off now again. Get back to the sunbathing there, because I know you just dressed up for us on the show this week. Lads, thanks a million for joining us.
To lose subscribers for you rather than gain them if I don't. I won't.
Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Gowran Park is your #1 choice for corporate days out, stag and hen party events, and an overall great local racing experience. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025 takes place on Thursday the 23rd of January. With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit gowranpark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Eddie and the team look forward to welcoming you to Gowran Park this winter.
150 yards to go, Glengooley, and ain't that a shame from Angels Dawn? Ain't that a shame is going on to win the Goffs Thyestes, pulling out every stop from Glengooley.
Yes, well, one of the wealthiest men in racing on and off the track is Kevin O'Ryan, and we're delighted at massive cost once again. This show this week will put Champ.ie we'll be broke after this for getting on all of the guests. Kevin, it's wonderful to see you again, and great to have you on this week's special edition of Champ.ie, looking ahead to the Thyestes. Of course, you're joining us from Tenerife, I believe.
Yes, I'm Davy. Very good afternoon to you, lads, and hope all's well, Bart. But in Tenerife, unfortunately, sadly coming back tomorrow, but it's been a great week and been very enjoyable. It's been like going racing in Ireland, actually, the amount of people I've actually met out here. A couple of them have led me astray for a few pints as well, but it's been a great week, and got used to going home actually this morning because funnily enough it was raining all morning, but otherwise it's been a fantastic week.
Yeah, it's getting you ready for Thyestes Day, no doubt, with the drop of rain falling, Kevin. I suppose we're going to look, Barry and Kevin, at one of the big races on the day. It's the Galmoy Hurdle. Kevin, what stands out for you in the race on Thursday?
Yeah, look, it's a hard act to follow, actually, after following on Bubba and Busty, two very close friends of mine, and obviously two local legends down there too, Busty and Bubba. But Galmoy Hurdle, Hidden Valley Lake is the one that stands out to me. It looks like it's going to be very hard to oppose him. I do think Buddy Rich is Buddy One is a big player as well. And actually, he's quite evenly and closely matched with Henry de Bromhead's horse on the last time they encountered each other, of course, and that was when he finished actually in front of Hidden Valley Lake at Aintree when he was placed in that hurdle last season. Very little to separate those. Buddy One, of course, is reverting back over hurdles after not really taking the jumping fence. He never jumped with any great fluency. He didn't look like a natural over them. I think back over the smaller obstacles tomorrow, he'll give plenty to worry Hidden Valley Lake with. But Hidden Valley Lake is coming off the back of a cracking run behind Fergal O'Brien's Crambo Ascot before Christmas. Only beaten ahead that day. He won a similar race to the Galmoy last season at Navan when winning at Grade 2 level. And he sets a good standard. But I think it's between the two of those. A lot of these are coming into it. They're probably not the horses they were. And I just think Hidden Valley Lake, that was only his first run of the season, first since entry. He's entitled to come forward from it. And I do think Paul Gilligan's horse, who, of course, Paul has tasted success on this day with winning the Goffs Thyestes a few years ago. I think he's a big player, and he'll give Hidden Valley Lake plenty to do. But slight preference for Hidden Valley Lake.
Barry, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I have to say, Kevin's left me very little to say. Live from Tenerife, Kev, great to see you. They were the two that I narrowed it down to, and I suppose, look, even though Buddy One, as Kevin said, is reverting back over hurdles after a couple of runs over fences, I just thought, he would be able to shoulder the weight Hidden Valley Lake. That's a standout piece of form. The Ascot run last time just touched off. And Rob Corr, of course, have won the Galmoy Hurdle a couple of seasons ago with Tiopu as well, and loved their winners on Goffs Thyestes Day. So Hidden Valley Lake would be the pick. And I do think, I think if you look back at Hidden Valley Lake's last two runs, it was on good to soft ground. The softer the ground, the better for this horse, and he is still unexposed over 3 miles. The joint top rated in here, and I think he'll be able to shoulder the weight. And I have to say, I'm in full agreement with Kevin, and Buddy One would be the danger. Kev, just to ask you, I suppose, about the Goffs Thyestes Chase Day. MC on course for a long time, Kevin. I suppose, describe the day in a nutshell, Goffs Thyestes Chase Day. What makes it different?
Well, look, they say in they say in Australia that the Melbourne Cup stops a nation. It's an old adage now, but the Goffs Thyestes Day stops a county. And there's always a massive crowd there. And it's kind of one of the old-fashioned days, because remember, it's one of the few big days that is now still being held midweek as well. A lot of people take the day off to come from work and whatever else other commitments they have to come to Goffs Thyestes Day. There's always a great atmosphere and a great buzz there. You have people from all over the country, all over the county and the neighbouring counties as well, the likes of Carlow and Kilkenny, so on and so forth, Waterford and that. And it's just a great place. You'll meet people at Goffs Thyestes Day at Gowran Park that you'll only meet once a year, and that's, of course, on Goffs Thyestes Day. But it's a cracking day, cracking atmosphere. And it's one of my favourite tracks in Ireland. I'm not just saying it because I've worked there. I've been working there for a very long time. There's a great team that run it. Eddie and all his team do a wonderful job. And they're always striving to improve. We'll see the new facilities there as well that they opened in the spring of last year. The new weigh room, the corporate facilities and the sponsors room, owners room, and also the new press area that's gone down fantastically well and has been such a success. And they're always striving, the team in Gowran Park. Right, we've that done. What's the next improvement we can make?
Yes, absolutely. Sounds like you're getting called to the 4 o'clock mass there, Kev, with the bells ringing in the background in Tenerife. Hopefully you're all set for that. Kevin, what else, looking over the years, there's been some brilliant winners, hasn't there, of the race? Which one or a couple have stood out for you over the years that you've been most impressed with?
Yeah, it's very hard to answer that question, Davey, because there's been so many great stories as well. I remember going back to Tom Cahill when I was a kid. A lot of relatively local winners. Shea Barry won on Letter Lee going back into the 90s. Shawnee Tracy, of course. Be My Bell, of course, he was a local trainer at the time as well. Jimmy Mangan, of course. Winston Boy. there's been so many big stories. The Hickey family with Bob Tracy, who won it twice, first under Norma Williamson and then second time under John Cullen a couple of seasons later. So there's been a lot of the small trainers have won the Goffs Thyestes Chase. Martin Brazel, of course, winning it with number 6, Valverde. He's gone on, as we know. He's won an English national. You've got Hedge Hunter, of course, who won the Goffs Thyestes. And then the following year, he won the Randox Health English Entry National. He was placed in the Gold Cup. Jack Adam, of course, previous winner. He was placed in the Gold Cup as well. But there's so many great stories and so many different stories as well. On his own, and won it a couple of times. David Casey had a great record in the race as well. He went on and just got touched off, didn't he, by Lord Windermere in the Cheltenham Gold Cup as well. So, and then well before our time, boys, Davy, you might have been around, but of course, Arkle, you probably remember that well, Davy. You'd have a bit of age on your side.
A year or two before.
But of course, Arkle won it as well. But there was always a great atmosphere around in Gowran afterwards too. Eddie and the team put on plenty to do, plenty of music, plenty of bands. The bars stay open late into Gowran Park, the likes of Clears and O'Loughlin's and the Lord Bagnall then and Loughlin Bridge as well, where we always go back to for a bit of grub afterwards every year on the way home, and the Lord Bagnall is packed. So it's not just about the racecourse, it's what it brings to the local economy for that single day every year is phenomenal. We have a lot of people coming over from the UK as well that stay in the likes of Kilkenny, Langtons and all around Lyrat and so on and so forth, Mount Juliet and all. So everybody benefits from one single day, and I think we tend to forget that. But there's always a great buzz, great atmosphere. Very hard to say which one stands out for me, but as I said, there's been a lot of good days, and hopefully this is going to be just as good.
Speaking of restaurants and speaking of food, Kev, when we were on the phone, I was Googling there. I was daydreaming. That restaurant in Costa Dej, La Torre del Mirador. You have to head there for your final night. I might give the Lord Bagnall a run for its money. I was telling Kevin that I spent the honeymoon in Costa Dej, but don't forget that one, Kev. Good restaurant recommendation in Tenerife, Costa Dej.
I've already been there, Baron. We're going there. Actually, my wife Angela's gone to book it now for tonight. And I'll tell you, if you're ever back here, lads, and anybody listening in as well, if you like Asian food, as good a restaurant as I've ever been in, Ban Noa. I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's just down on Playa Fanaby, and literally 10 minutes from here. We're in there last night, still haven't eaten since. Absolutely fantastic. So anybody who's coming to Costa Dej, make sure you go down to Ban Noa. Top class food, lads.
Kev,
Yes,
what wins the race this year? The Goffs Thyestes Chase. What are you going with?
I'm going to go with Busty's selection. Would you believe myself and Busty have been best of friends probably 30 years. We don't usually agree in too much, but I'm a big fan of Will Do. Will Do, it's a long time actually, lads, since we've seen a horse rate of 126 get into the Goffs Thyestes Chase. He's running from a pound out of the handicap. He does renew rivalry with Nick Rocket. Now, he could be very well handicapped, probably is very well handicapped, closely matched on the Paddy Power run. Will Do finished near enough upside, shall we say, to Nick Rocket. I think that day, Will Do, on his first run in handicap company and only his fourth start over fences, only his fourth start over fences.
That's the priest calling you at the mess. You bet you're going to be late.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've been told to quieten down. Somebody's not too happy with anyway. But anyway, they'll get over it. But sorry, going back to where I was. Will Do, of course, was getting £17 off Nick Rocket in the Paddy Power. He's now in receipt of £25 off him. And he's quite a similar profile to Gordon Elliott's first ever winner in the race, which is Monbeg Notorious, who I think won it off a mark of 134, something similar like that. And he won it on his first run in handicap company. Will Do, blinkers on him, had him on for the first time when running in the Paddy Power. He jumped, travelled really well. I don't know whether he got outstayed. He shouldn't have done, because he's won over this trip around Thurles, of course, last year over hurdles too. But he's a big player, and yeah, man, he's very dangerous as well. Now, he hasn't won over fences yet. He's not from 8. He was third in the Tri-Town, and his stable companion, Percival Legelwa, finished a length and a half behind him in 4th. He's gone on, as we know, won the Paddy Power. Keith Donoghue doing 11-1. He's a massive, massive player. And obviously Keith Donoghue doing 11-1, that's down near his minimum. I think he could give Will Do most to do, but Will Do, for me, I'm going to stick with him.
Will that be your €50 charity bet, Kev, for Hollow Street Hospital, kindly sponsored, given to us by Boylesports for Thursday?
Yeah, we'll go with Will Do, and a great cause as well, great charity, and let's hope Will Do will earn Hollow Street a few quid.
Yes, well, the guests get more and more better by the minute as we go on in the show this week. We're delighted to have Paul Nolan on the line. Don't forget out there, we've got those tickets to give away as well to the Goffs Thyestes Day. And of course, all you've got to do is tell us who you think is going to win the Goffs Thyestes on Thursday. Put in your selections on the comment section down below, and the winners will be out late on Thursday night. Paul Nolan, great to have you with us. And Goffs Thyestes Day, firstly, it is a marvellous day, and you've got plenty of runners on the card as well on Thursday.
Yeah, we've three, as few runners we've 3 runners in the one race. You think we'd be able to split them up, but it's amazing that there are lads that would love to have they love having a runner on the day up there, and as Charlie and all and the lads referred to there, it is a big day in the southeast, and it's supported greatly by all the neighbouring counties as well. It's amazing there how many fellas are ringing the yard the last couple of days looking for tickets to get in.
I'm surprised you weren't banging the doors down, Paul, to give us a rendition of Bool of Ogue, maybe to shake Charlie and the lads up there.
I don't think the lads now will be shaken too much by any rendition of Bool of Ogue or anything like that. I don't think any fellas are worried about that. But sure, anyway, listen, we're able to beat them now and again anyway to keep the flag flying in some way.
Talk us through the runners, Paul. Talk us through the runners on Goffs Thyestes Day from the stable.
Yeah, we've a little filly there, Drum Roll. She's in a handicap hurdle there. She's owned by a syndicate of hurlers there from Ballygunner, but unfortunately she's not that fond of jumping, lads. So she's probably one now to more look at. But she's we're after doing all in her power to get her to jump that little bit better. But she'd prefer not to be leaving the ground. So I couldn't tell you to be sort of fancying her, unfortunately. I've 3 runners in the handicap. They've all a little bit of a squeak. Tranquil Sea as a horse that'll appreciate a bit of softer ground, and he sort of got knocked out of a little bit in Leopardstown the last day in the Pertemps qualifier. He couldn't really get a blow in. He's a small, handy sort of a horse, and he doesn't like the hustle and bustle of things, but he is a little bit of a squeak. We're claiming off him. It's an opportunity race, and he's a good rider on board. We have a horse called Helico Conti who has been hitting the bar there last year in some of the good festivals, but again we just have to try a few little different things with him. Hopefully he'll put his best foot forward. And right down the bottom of it, then we've a horse called Spatman de Cersei. He was 5th in Limerick at Christmas. A horse in front of him has sluiced in the other day there at Philip Rotwell's, and a horse behind him has 1 cent. So the race has worked out that bit, and our fella's fresh and well and carrying the light weight. He just might have a little bit of a say in it as well.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Well, before we get Paul's charity bet and his thoughts on the Thyestes on Thursday, Barry, you've been looking ahead to the second race on the card at Gowran on Thursday.
Yeah, the second race on the card, of course, the Langton's Kilkenny Handicap Hurdle, the 138. And best of luck to you, Paul, with your runner in the race. I thought the Big Cloud, 2 of the last 4 winners of this particular contest, Dave, have shouldered 12 stone. And I thought, I know Shane Crawley has had winners around Gowran Park in the past. Wouldn't be a local trainer or anything like that, but he's very, very capable. And I thought the Big Cloud, entitled to get tired of thought at Limerick on its first start of the new season, behind the Eric Mack horse, of course, down at Limerick at Christmas time, was 3rd on its reappearance. And proven on testing ground, its sole victory did come on testing ground, Dave. And I think stepping back to 2 miles, interesting, the top weight here. And it could be the 3rd runner in 6 seasons, or in 5 seasons, should I say, to shoulder top weight. I thought the Big Cloud is probably the most likely to go very, very close in the race 2 on the card.
Excellent. Paul, we've got a €50 charity bet from Boylesports for all our guests on the show, and all proceeds with any winnings we get is going to go to Hollow Street Hospital. You have that selection to give us in a moment, but your thoughts on the big race on Thursday, the Thyestes?
I think that maybe Gordon Elliott there, Sam Ewing's ride, is it will do, right down at the bottom on 10 stone. That could have a big squeak, and it normally in the last few years the Thyestes has gone to the bigger yards. In fairness, they've a good few darts to throw at the board there, but he with Sam riding him, he's definitely the one of Gordon's that I'd pick out of it. But I think the J man will run a big race there, owned by Wexford man John Brennan there as well. He won a big handicap in England last year, and I'd say the softer the ground for him, the better he'll be.
Absolutely brilliant. And what about a charity bet, Paul, for your €50 from Boylesports for Thursday?
I go to the Thyestes there with Will Do of Gordon Elliott.
Absolutely brilliant, Paul. Listen, best of luck on Thursday with your runners, and we look forward to seeing you down there at Gowran Park this Thursday.
Paul, just quickly, Xander Cleggan, talk to us.
Yeah, Xander Cleggan, again, Barry has been a horse there that, in the last few runs hasn't been sort of hitting the line, and more than likely this could be his last chance, maybe over 3 miles. We'll see what happens there on Thursday, and we'll drop back in trip after this. But with the race the way it is, and he's getting a nice allowance from the top one there, but there's several horses there that he's 7 and 8 and 9 pounds wrong with. But I think he's better than what he's been. And the last day in Leopardstown, if you were to look at the race in running when he turned into the straight, there's no way you'd say he'd finish 4th in the race. He seemed to travel well, but the further he went, his head came up that little bit. We're going to ride him a little bit different. We're going to drop him out and see could he hit the line that little bit better. And if it doesn't work this time, we'll probably drop him back in trip. But he's there with a chance. On his best performance, he has every chance, but he's going to have to hit the line a little bit better, and we'll be definitely riding him differently on Thursday.
Super, Paul. Well, we look forward to seeing you down there on Thursday at Gowran.
Thanks a million, lads. Thanks for the call.
Yes, so hello, Barry Doyle from the Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast. I'm here with my co-host, David Byrnes, and we're here in Sligo Town, David, in EJ Menswear, and EJMenswear.com. Fantastic season ahead. EJ has kindly partnered up with us to be a men's fashion partner with Champ.ie for the season. And David, we're suited and booted. You're looking sharp.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. And this fantastic bundle and this outfit we're wearing is costing $2.99. It sets you up beautifully for the racing season ahead, which includes Leopardstown at Christmas, Thyestes Day at Gowran Park, and of course, if you want to go even bigger, you can get togged out for the Cheltenham and Entry festivals later on in the season.
Absolutely, and of course, check out the Champ.ie podcast right throughout the season, Mondays and Thursdays, and look at the offer, the tailored bundle for the racing season, $2.99, blazer, shirt, chino, socks and shoes. What's not to like, lads? Check out EJMenswear.com to find out all the racing offers.
Yes, well, we're delighted to be joined by Henry Beeby from Goffs. Henry, it is that time of year again, the Goffs Thyestes Day. And firstly, I suppose we've a fantastic entry for the big race on Thursday.
We have indeed. First of all, I'd like to say how beautifully turned out you are in that immaculate hat. Well done.
Thank you very much.
I love a bit of branding, so it's always good to see a guy who does a bit of branding, but you look great. But yeah, what a wonderful day it always is. We've been... If you've had a quiet Christmas and you've had a cold January and you've been doing half or maybe a bit of dry January and you think, Lord, I want to get out. What a better day. There isn't a better day than Goffs Thyestes Day at Gowran. It's a midweek meeting, which is one of its USPs. It truly is the race that stops a county. It's always exciting, but it's wonderful to meet everybody we see there. And I just can't wait.
And I suppose, Henry, from a Goffs perspective, why is it such a great fit as a sponsorship with Gowran Park and the Thyestes Chase?
Well, this is the time of the year when we start. Our team gets on the road right about now to go looking at 3-year-old store horses. And those are the horses that we hope to catalogue and then sell, excuse me, in our Goffs Arkle sale in June that has made huge strides. It used to be called the Land Rover sale. The last few years it's called the Arkle sale, named after himself, the greatest of all time, a former winner of the Thyestes, a former Goffs graduate, and we go out and about. So it's a really good fit, and we've got a huge number of clients in that part of the country. So we meet a lot of clients. We're starting to promote our sale. It's a good way to get out and meet those clients who are also great friends as well.
Race that there's always a story comes out of the Goffs Thyestes Chase. I suppose looking at the race this year and the entries, Willie Mullins gone for a record 10th winning the race. And what have you made, I suppose, of the entries this year? And I suppose what story, and there's always a story that comes out of the race. What story would you like to see come out of the race this year?
Well, there's a number of stories could come out of it. As you say, Willie Mullins could win a record 10 because he's had he's had 9 so far, and I'm just looking down at what he's got. He's got the likes of Nick Rocket and Glenn Gooley. Coco Beach could join that elite band, having won in 2021 of being a 2-time winner at the Thyestes. Gavin Cromwell's going well. He's got a great chance with one of the favourites, Yeah Man. There's a longer priced horse for Oliver McKinnon. As you say, there will be a story. What that story is, I don't know, but it'll be a joyful story. And it'll be one of those stories that we talk about for years to come. And do you remember when? Hedge Hunter, number 6 Valverde, Arkle, on his own, horses like that who won this race. Proper horses. It's a proper race at a proper race course with proper people on a proper day.
Yes, absolutely. And Henry, we're looking forward to seeing you there on Thursday. Thanks a million for kicking off and joining us in the show this week on our Goffs Thyestes Day preview. And we look forward to seeing you at the track on Thursday.
I really can't wait. I'm dying to get in the car and get down there, drive through Gowran nice and early and say hello. Looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, lads.
And building up to the big one, it is, of course, race number 4 on the Goffs Thyestes Chase dates, the race itself, the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025. And I suppose going back to 2005, no better man, Slippers Madden, won the race aboard number 6 Valverde, a horse that won at Gowran and went on to win an A3 National. Great to see you, Niall, and great to have you on the show.
Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, it's a long time ago now, 20 years, but sure, it's listen, it was a great day. 2005 and number 6 it was a start of a great few years of them.
And I suppose describe the buzz back in 2005, Niall, winning the Goffs Thyestes Chase, the buzz down on course. What do you remember of that day?
Listen, sure, you remember everything of those big days. I was 19. I was still only an amateur at the time, and I think I'm still the only amateur to ever win the Thyestes. I could be wrong on that now, but I'm really sure I'm the only amateur to ever win it. It was great for Martin to leave me on him. He was a spare ride a month before in Navan, and I kept the riding him for the Thyestes then. The ground was soft, and I just about got up on the line or just held on, whichever way you want to look at it. I wasn't sure if I'd held on or not. But I would have taken a dead heat now before they announced the result. But when they did announce the result, I was absolutely thrilled. It was a massive day. The atmosphere was unbelievable. Walking back down the chute and everyone shouting and roaring and everyone listen, it was just, it make the hair stand on the back of your neck walking down as a young jockey, and they're the days that you always remember.
And Martin has since won the race, of course, a couple of seasons ago. Longhouse Poet, some target trainer, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Listen, Martin's a very, very good trainer. We've seen it down through the years that he's produced them on the day, A1 ready to go. And listen, he's had some great days between Grand Nationals and Cheltenham winners and big handicap winners. But no, he's a very good trainer, and he was always very good to me when I was riding.
That evening, you said you were 19 years of age. Did you venture into Kilkenny, the Lower Bagnall? How did you celebrate?
I actually didn't. I was working in Nolan Meads at the time. I went back up to Navan and went out in Navan that night with lads from the yard and lads from work. So yeah, we had a good night out, all right.
And that horse, obviously, we mentioned it went on to win the Entry Grand National. I mean, it's probably no sweeter feeling in racing, is there?
No, it does not. Listen, he actually won the Irish National that year after winning the Thyestes. And then the following year he won the Grand National. But listen, the Thyestes is that type of horse, that type of race that you see Irish Grand National and English Grand National horse running. We've seen it down through the years. And as I say, as soon as the Thyestes was over or the Irish National was finished, that was his target. And listen, lucky he paid off. The Grand National is a race you'll never forget. It's one of those races that it's huge, and listen, I was lucky enough to be on the right horse at the right time.
And I suppose, look, going into the Goffs Thyestes Chase, I did want to ask you, number 6 Valverde, on that day, did you fancy him? Did you fancy him to go and win the race?
I did fancy him. Yeah, he was in off a nice-ish weight. He'd won well in Navan the time before. I knew the track would suit. He jumped really well. Listen, it's a Thyestes. You need a bit of luck. There's plenty of runners, and I actually just looked up the result there this morning just to refresh my mind. There was a few fallers early on, and I got a small bit hampered. I don't remember getting hampered. Only I looked at the result this morning. But listen, yeah, I did fancy him though. He had a massive chance, but he had a chance. That's all he had. But he went on to bigger, better things, and I'd say only for races like the Thyestes and Irish Nationals and Paddy Powers that we see down through the years. They're the races that make these good horses Grand National horses.
Life Niall, after, sorry,
sorry, Barry. I was just going to come in there, Niall, and ask you. You know, Gowran Park over the years has produced some brilliant winners of the Thyestes Chase, horses that have gone on to do great things in other race courses. What makes Gowran Park such a fair race course? But obviously, it must be a really good test of a horse because, look, as I said, the form of these horses, they do go on to bigger and greater things after.
Yeah, listen, Gowran is a cracking track. It's a real it's a stiff track. It's a fair track. There's the fences are big but very fair. If you make a mistake, you stand up. But if you deserve to fall, you will fall. They're that type of fence. But it's a very fair track. Stiff, can be very, very hard work on sort of winter ground. But listen, you need to stay around Gowran and you need to be able to travel because around the top end and you run downhill into the straight, you need to be able to travel as well as stay. But listen, Gowran is a great track. That's why we see all these good horses, as you mentioned earlier on in the podcast. We heard Nolan had won there, War Patrician had won there. We see Willie Mullins, Henry de Bromhead, all the best trainers in Ireland bring their good horses to Gowran. And it's just a pat in the back for everyone that works in Gowran. And Iscali's done an unbelievable job in Gowran with the new Wareham. It's fabulous in there. And, you know, it's just every year you come to Gowran, something has changed to improve the place. And it's just, listen, it's one of those tracks there where you wouldn't mind bringing any horse there.
I just wanted to ask you, Niall, obviously your involvement now with RT and RT Racing. We were discussing this, I suppose, the other night off air, and getting RTE down to Gowran Park, that's a big deal, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge. Listen, everyone, racing's on, whenever it's on RT, it's huge. Everybody can tune in, and I think we were showing 5 races. There's a good beginner's chase on then as well, and the Thyestes. But the Thyestes is a very big race in the Irish calendar. It's a lot of people aim for that race. The atmosphere is there, and the crowd is there. Like they say it's the race that stops the county, which is true because everyone from around Gowran will always turn up, whether it's from Kilkenny or Carlow. The locals will always be there, and it's an unbelievable atmosphere. And you see the same people there every year. They really aim for that meeting, and it's a brilliant day. And if you're only thinking about going, I'd really tell you to go because you'll really enjoy the day.
From a production point of view, I suppose those who haven't been to Gowran, I mean, speaking to Conor O'Hare down in Gowran at the Gowran Golf Classic about this, I mean, Mount Leinster in the background, the high trees, the golf course, it's very, very picturesque. And for RTE to showcase racing at Gowran Park, I mean, it definitely is unique.
Oh, it is, of course, but it's a cracking track, and as you said, with the surroundings as well, and you can even see the golf course as well. You were down playing golf there last week, and the golf course is in great shape too, and it just goes to show you that all the stuff that's around, and you can still have racing on in Gowran, County Carlow. Like it's unbelievable. Like, and as I said, it's great to have RT down there with the meeting that's on, and the Thyestes really brings that.
What wins the race 2025?
I actually fancy Nick Rocket. I fancied him in the Paddy Power in Leopardstown, his first run since April. So I'm hoping that he'll come on a little bit for the run. He went up 2 pounds. I know he's a lot of weight, but you'd often see down through the years, in recent years, nearly the best horse or the top weights were always thereabouts. The best horse usually wins in Gowran, and usually the horse with the most amount of weight is usually the best horse in the race. And I'm not worried about the weight he has. They claimed off him in the Paddy Power, but I see Paul has chosen to ride him, which is a big plus, and I don't think he'd be far away now. I think he could be an Irish national horse down the road as well.
Well, we are looking at the big one. It is the 3 mile 1 furlong Goffs Thyestes handicap chase, the grade 3. Barry, what have you come down on for the big one?
Got to go with man for the race 2025. I mean, Willie Mullins has 5 in the race. Gordon Elliott has 6, but Gavin Cromwell, I mean, he's proven time and time again in these big handicaps. He'll have a line, of course, through Will Do and Nick Rocket to the Paddy Power chase at Leopardstown with Percy Galway winning the race. And I just think, obviously local ownership, owned by a man from the southeast, and his only win over fences did come at Haydock, and it was on really, really testing ground. I mean, any horse that wins over 3-4 at Haydock on really deep ground. Well, we know one thing, we know they stay. So he is going to stay. And he crept into it nicely, I thought, in the Tri-Town, which can traditionally be a decent trial for the, of course, the Thyestes Chase itself. And, he's not overly raced. He's 8 years of age, so he has the right profile in terms of age. And he's just 2 pounds higher. Carry 11 stone 1. I think they were saying that Keith Donoghue might be, avoiding the takeaways, and to do that weight obviously is significant as well for Keith. So riding out of his skin at the moment, and Gavin in these big handicaps has to be respected. One of the bigger price to mention, also trained by Gavin Cromwell, Velvet Elvis. I'm convinced is the big day in this horse. The cheek pieces go on for the first time as well. Will handle the ground conditions and teed up nicely for the race. So I think the Gavin Cromwell duo can run well. It's not perhaps all about Willie Mullins or Gordon Elliott this year. And Gavin Cromwell's runner has mentioned, the charity bet. Short was 5-1 now, Dave, I think, with Boylesports. Let's go with it.
Yeah, and Niall, your 50 euros, where that's going to go on the charity bet?
Yeah, my charity bet's going to be with Nick Rocket for the race. As I said, I think he's gone in with the right profile. I know he's carrying a lot of weight, but I'm happy enough that Paul is riding him, and he's locally trained. Willie Mullins will have he's a few in it, but I'm just happy enough that Paul chose this fella, and I don't think he'll be far away. He ran in the Paddy Power the last time, as you were saying, and he ran a cracker. I think he's the one to beat, I think.
Yes, well, we're going to be looking ahead in a couple of moments, of course, to the 5th race on the card, which is the Daily Farrell Accountants Beginners Chase, and Barry will be giving us his selection for that one in a few moments. But we are now delighted to be joined by Brendan Hennessy, one of the greatest commentators in the country. He works with KCLR. You could find Brendan anywhere. Brendan, it's brilliant to have you on the show with us this week, Champ.ie. Thyestes Day, Gowran Park Thursday. I suppose, tell us your earliest memories and what it means to the locality.
Well, it means a lot to the locality. First and foremost, David, congratulations, yourself and Barry. I've been watching you for the last few years, and you do a fantastic job, and well done to the two of you, because I know it's your passion for what you do, so congratulations on that. What it means to the local area, my earliest memories, my Uncle Dermot used to come home from England all those years ago. My granddad, God be good to him, was a big man into the horses, and we used to always go to Gowran, probably every meeting that was on when Dermot was here. And as I got a little bit older, I was working locally in Carroll in the sugar company. A lot of guys there. We used to take half days for the likes of the TS days and meetings that were going on. And I remember when Tom Carroll was then there in more recent times, before Eddie and the lads took over, the October Festival came in, and that was absolutely huge as well. But TS days has always been the big one. And I know to say the race that stops the county, but with the close proximity of Gowran Park to Carlow, it meant an awful lot to the people of Carlow as well. And as you know, there's great racing people in Carlow. We don't have to mention the names. And, you know, not only in the town area, but Bagnallstown, Michael, no matter when you'd go, you'd meet people you haven't seen in quite a while. And what I've noticed over the last number of years is the amount of people that travel from Munster. My sister lives in Youghal, and I know that's a terrific horsey area as well. But the amount of people, I said this to Barry off air the other night, the amount of people from East Cork and right across the country, and I was up in Meath at a party on last Saturday before I went off to do the rugby, and the amount of people in around the Kilmessan area of County Meath that are heading to Gowran Park on Thursday is frightening. So it means an awful lot. My earliest memories, you asked me there, David, I went on a tangent. I remember Zita's lad winning back in the day, and I remember Pat Fahey winning with Nuaf, which was fantastic because Pat trains in Loughlin Bridge, and it was fantastic for Pat back in the day. And the other one that comes to mind is, I remember very well, it was the early 90s, I think it was around 92, possibly 93, Zita's lad, and the trainer, if my memory serves right, I wouldn't be as well up as you lads, but Upson, he was an English trainer, and there was fierce controversy after the race. Zita's lad won the race fair and square, but while he was interviewed by the press media, he was said, what was it like to win the Thyestes Chase, which is a highly respected race throughout the racing world, and he said, well, I think his words were, it was fantastic to come to a little backward country like Ireland and win a handicap chase. There was absolute blue murder for a few days after, but he didn't mean any harm, of course. He probably said the truth at the time, but you know, it was great crack, and they're my earliest memories anyway, because I was at all of them, and I've been at all the recent ones as well. And another early memory, I used to write a little article in a local magazine in Carlow. A great friend of mine brought out, Frank Kyle, and he asked me to do a little bit of stuff on sport. And there was a few of the lads locally. John Wynn from the Air Road team was involved in a syndicate with Miko's Dream. And he was down to run out of Thyestes. And at that time, it wasn't Goffs. It was Cuisine de France that sponsored the race. So I wrote the article, and I was delighted because, when you come out top, if you lads are giving tips and to win, it's brilliant. I wouldn't be a tremendous tipster, but I put a headline on the magazine, Miko's Dream to win French bread. And he did. So that was one of my great memories. And I still have the magazine somewhere. I couldn't find it to show there, but that was my claim to fame back then. But some brilliant days.
Brendan, just for someone, I suppose, who has never been to Goffs Thyestes Chase Day, what do you think is different about it? You mentioned the guys coming down from County Meath. For someone around the country or even overseas coming to Goffs Thyestes Chase Day, what makes it different, do you think?
I think it's a unique kind of a day out, and the fact that it's on a Thursday, because a lot of the big races in Ireland are always, the Tri-Town is on a Saturday, and you have the big race in Punchestown weekends, and other to have weekday meetings as well. But for the type of race that it is and the horses that it has produced, I mean, remember, Arkle, I think, won the Thyestes Chase back before my time. Number 6 Valverde went on to win the Grand National, and
Brown Lad,
Hedge Hunter, Brown Lad, all big names. So it has a great tradition. You often hear fellas talking about GA teams, and such a club won't win because they haven't got tradition. The Thyestes Chase has an absolutely fantastic tradition, and I think Gowran Park can go back a long way. And I think also what adds to it is the picturesque setting in Gowran Park and the fact that it's a park track. And the other great thing about Gowran Park is no matter where you stand in Gowran Park, I know it changed a little bit with the golf course now, but no matter where you stand in Gowran Park, you can see the race from start to finish, no matter whether they go around twice or 3 times. You see on the far side going up the hill, you might just see the top of the jockeys. But it's a great track to view. And I think, I mentioned the people travelling from Cork and Meath, that's only 2 counties. From my experience over the years, there's always been buses organised from Dublin, from the capital city, and I think you'll have that again on Thursday as well, which is fantastic as well.
Routine-wise, Brendan, I suppose, you're going to the Goffs Thyestes Chase a long, long time. For someone, I suppose, looking for a few drinks afterwards, bite to eat, any recommendations?
Well, I'm not going to end up like you in the Lord Bagnall at 5 o'clock in the morning last year anyway. That's a sir.
His wife still doesn't know about that, Barry.
I had a clip I had a clip that I sent through to Eddie Scally. It was Mark Landers, the Cork captain. I didn't tell Charlie Carter that, but the Cork captain of 1998 was in the Bagnall, of course, late last year, and we gave a rendition of the Boys of Fairhill. So there was great crack there. It is a brilliant spot to go afterwards for the grub, obviously, Brendan.
And locally in Gowran as well. I mean, Loughlin's has always been tremendous. Pat is a big horseman himself, and I'm not into the race horses, but he's into the hunters and all of that. But Loughlin's over the years was always fantastic. You meet people, Tipperary, all the neighbouring counties are very supportive of Gowran Park. And to be fair, Eddie and the team do a fantastic job on Gowran Park, and I just want to wish them well also for Thursday. But there's always great camaraderie, getting together, and so you meet people that you haven't seen before. So that's what makes it unique as well. And you meet all the locals as well, and all the horsey people, and lots of Kilkenny people travel out to it from the city and from around the county as well. So it's great. And you mentioned Mark Landers. I've seen him on the television there with having an interview with RTE at Christmas, and he was on O'Brien on RTE, and I think himself and Anthony Daly were promoting syndicates. So there's a lot of people involved in syndicates now as well, and I'm sure that there's a few people that will be there on Thursday that have horses involved or involved in syndicates as well, which is fantastic.
Tell us about Casey Law's involvement on track.
They're going to be broadcasting the races at Casey Law. They're going to be there with build-up shows. Shane and Shannon are going to be there with the lunchtime show. The outside broadcast unit will be there from early. So as far as I know, Casey Law are broadcasting all day. They will be broadcasting the matches, and there's been a great build-up to it because I heard Eddie's sports program on Monday night, and he done a lot of the lads. I know you're a regular on it, Barry, as well, but he done a lot of the lads at the jockeys and all previewing the thing. And there's lots of tickets. I know David and yourself are giving away tickets on Champ tonight on this program, but there's a lot of tickets being given out as well, and great promotions as well. But look at the local radio works brilliant with local events, and this is one of the high. You'll have Kilkenny in an All Ireland final, or Leinster final, or Carlow going well up the road, and Joe McDonough, the footballers, and rugby and all this type of thing. But this is unique to the Southeast, and I think a lot of your speakers will say that tonight as well. And it's great for local owners and trainers as well, because the horse racing industry in Carlow, Kilkenny, Carlow in particular, there's hundreds and hundreds of people directly and indirectly implied through the horse racing industry. And I think that message is missed a lot of the time. You know, you go to Willie Mullins, as many people as Willie there, and what horses Willie's one of the big stars, Jim Bulger up in Coolcullen, you know, and then you throw in Tony and Pat Fahey and all the trainers, Mag locally in Gowran as well, Eamon Sheehy, Greg Namana, and all the great jockeys that we produced over the years and the trainers. You know, Sean Tracy trained the winner of the Thyestes once upon a time. Be My Bell, I think, was the horse back in the 90s. I had a few bob on that, actually. I think it was 6 or 7 to 1 winner. You know, that's fantastic. And the other thing I don't want to miss out on, the fact I've got the opportunity to be on tonight, I firmly believe on Thursday, you can talk about this horse, that horse, and the other horse. There's a lot of local trainers with horses, and I just made note of a few of them there. Enda Bulger has Reliable Prince in the 103. And there's a Greg Namana man. You know, he's not going to be too far away. Enda Bulger's Enda Bulger. I am a big Henry de Bromhead fan. I know he's next door in Waterford. Hidden Valley Lake. I think someone else probably mentioned him tonight as well. That's in the John Mulhern in the 230. But in the Langton's handicap hurdle, I just think the real Martello, Margaret Mullins and Danny, 2 locals in Gowran. You know, Danny is born and reared. Mag is down that way as well. And a very interesting one as well. I was looking at the field this morning, and I seen Pat Fahey had Stormy Judge down to run in the Thyestes, but he's only a reserve now. He didn't get in, but he was on a great weight. And I just said to myself, could history repeat itself? So obviously he's not in at the minute. He's a reserve. But I then looked at the rest of the field, and in the 358, Pat Fahey, Harry Sexton riding, dropped the anchor for JP McManus. Now, that's Lachlan Bridge and Gowran Barry. David is familiar with the territory as well. They're just locals. And I always look back at the results of Gowran Park and Tramore, and you always see that there's a local jockey will ride 2 winners. You have a local trainer that might have 1 or 2. Willie is always going to feature somewhere along the line. Willie would be disappointed if he's watching this now that I haven't mentioned him. I'm a huge Willie Mullins fan. But, you know, they're just 4 that I've picked of some of the local stories that are there. And one thing I don't want to forget, it must be the best memories of Gowran, not on Thyestes Day, but on Red Mills Day, which is coming up in a few weeks' time as well. I'll never forget the day that Dan Oley won under Tommy Tracy, and I think it's over 30 years. Great feature. Tommy's a great friend of mine over the years, not because Tommy's a friend of mine, Jim, his late father, great man, Tom Foley, Danny O'Neill, Olivia. That was a magnificent story, and it was kind of an Irish fairy tale story. But the day Dan Oley won in Gowran, if you have a look at the photographs, Eddie will show you on Thursday, there was absolutely thousands of people there just to see Dan Oley. It was unbelievable. That was one of the best memories ever. There's a photograph of that Red Mills there. I got that off Tommy a long time ago there. I have it here in the house. So I don't know whether your viewers will see that or not, but that's one from that day, and it's one I treasure here as well. I have another great one of them on the gallop there under young Porrick English. David might know Porrick, the Tipperary chap, used to ride out for Tom Foley, the late Tom. It was tremendous. But that was a great story in Carlow. But I mean, the Willie Mullins story at the moment is fantastic, and Tony was brilliant there. He had that great mare that done very well in France, Princess Zoe. And, you know, we've had a few great days, but just the people in Carlow are tremendous horsey people, and all the trainers and all the jockeys and Cross Kilkenny as well. It's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, Brendan, we've got a €50 charity bet from Boylesports for all of our guests this evening. But before we get to that and get your selection for that charity bet, Barry has been looking ahead to race 5. Barry, what have you come down on this 5th race? Of course, it is the Daily Farrell Accountants Beginner's Chase.
It's an interesting one, Dave, because obviously Willie Mullins' good record in this particular race. Tactical Move won the race last year, and he's absolutely mob-handed this year. We heard from Patrick earlier on in the show, and he did give a mention to Western Diego, and that's a horse I think might be slightly forgotten about here. Brian Hayes, obviously living local in the area as well, on board Western Diego. And don't forget, this horse ran a big race in the Champion Bumper a couple of seasons ago. Only had the 3 runs over hurdles, and has had the 1 start over fences. Finished 4th behind Gino Lappin, who's probably the biggest horse in National Hunt training. One of the biggest horses I've ever seen. And that was at Leopardstown. And I just think this horse, Western Diego, if he settles, he'll relish the ground conditions at Gowran, stepping up and trip 2 mile, from 2 miles up to 2 mile 4. I thought it was an interesting runner. Willie has plenty of runners in the race. Shapa de Salil, Patrick said, of course, on the show that Shapa de Salil, he'd be the one that he might side with in this race. But he did mention, don't forget about Western Diego. And it's the one I'm going to side with, the 8-year-old, lightly raced 8-year-old son of Western. I think will relish the conditions. I'm going to go with that one, Dave.
Lovely stuff. Brendan, your €50 bets for, of course, Thyestes Day. What have you come down on?
Barry's taking me theory there, picking the local trainer and jockey to win the races. He's listening to me now as well. David, I was looking at the field, and I'm a man for outsiders and that, and I seen that Stormy Judge as reserve. So I was actually going to go for Stormy Judge, but he gets in. I think it's great each way value because he's not carrying any weight at all with the weight he's got. But I think Will Do as well handicap for Gordon Elliott. And I was kind of caught between Man and Nick Rocket because Keith Donoghue is riding very well, and Gavin Cromwell is absolutely flying his way down Ferry House a few days ago there. And Nick Rocket for Willie and Paul Townend being the local story and by Thierry again. But I've been looking through the field a while. I don't really want to depart away from Willie and Nick Rocket. I had it in my head, but I've changed my mind, and I don't often do that. I'm going for Will Do, Sam Ewing, and Gordon Elliott. And I tell you what helped me to do that as well. I was talking to a fella in Meath the other night, and he says Elliott will win the Thyestes. So he's 2 in or 3. I'm going for that one.
Excellent stuff. Well, Brendan, we look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and thanks a million for joining us on Champ.ie this week.
Yeah, thanks, David. Before I go, just one man I want to give a mention to. It's a great friend of mine, a huge horsey man, Liam O'Connor. Liam was in the horse racing business here over the years, working in Jim Bulger's and Willie Mullins, and he's now working in Rome in Italy, and he's watching the programme here tonight, and he absolutely loves what you lads do. So Liam will be keeping a close eye on Gowran Park on Thursday. And just to think of all the lads that used to be involved with the racing here and the lassies that are no longer here in Ireland to get to Gowran, but they will be watching in and tuned in tonight. So big hello to Liam in Rome. And listen, the very best of luck to you. I'll see you there on Thursday. And bring a few Bob, David. Join me a pint.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. I'll buy you 2. Top man, Brendan, and we'll see you Thursday. Yes, well, we're going to move on and have a look at race number 6 now, the 3 Mile Adair Manor Opportunity Handicap Hurdle. We'll get to that in a minute, but we've got another very, very special guest, one of Kilkenny's finest ever to pick up a hurley, Charlie Carter. And I suppose, Charlie, firstly, before we talk about Goffs Thyestes Day 2025, new year, new dawning, who wins the All-Ireland Hurling Championship in 2025?
Oh, Jesus, you're hitting me with that one early. Look, if I was to pick someone off the top of my head, it'd probably be Limerick. I'd go for Limerick. I think they can regroup after last year and maybe use the hurt. And they still have a few good young lads to come in there, the likes of Adam English, who didn't make the team last year. Probably should have been on the team, but anyway, they might be hurting from last year, so they're still well equipped to make a bold bid for it again next year.
Yes, well, let's move on with the racing. Goffs Thyestes Day, first day, I suppose. Charlie, it's a superb day, and I suppose it means the world to the people of the southeast, doesn't it? The big day on Thursday.
It does, yeah. Look, it's great for the area. I suppose we're lucky to have Gordon here on the racecourse here in Gordon, and it's always a great day out, and it's a day everyone puts in the calendar from year to year, and it just mightn't stop a nation, but it definitely stops the southeast anyway for that Thursday in January.
Before we get to talking about race number 6 and getting your thoughts on the big race, tell us how your love of horses began and how you got into the breeding of horses as well.
I suppose, look at I live in a family farm here, and my dad always had kept a couple of mares, and I suppose I developed a love from an early age. He threw me up in a grey mare a long time ago, and never lost the bug. And I suppose it's hurling and horses was always my 2 passions,
Yes, and of course, how you bud at Christmas at Leopardstown in 2021. That must have been a great thrill.
It was a great day, yeah. Unfortunately, it was COVID times, and there was only a small crowd there, and owners and trainers. And I think the members of the Leopardstown were the only people that were allowed in. But it didn't matter. I think I had the whole stand to myself nearly. But no, it was a great day, and a day I'll never forget anyway, that's for sure. I suppose we went up hoping the horse might finish in the first 5 or 6. I probably would have come home happy, but Jack Foley was riding the same day, and Jack gave me a peach for ride, and gave me probably the greatest day I had in ownership anyway,
Talking about great days, Charlie, you had certainly plenty of great days on the hurling field as well over the years with Kilkenny.
Yeah, look at the great days, good days and bad days, but look at lucky enough to win 3 All-Irelands, and unfortunate enough to lose 3, but I would have took the hand on all of you. You had to give me 3 before I ever started, but it was great times, and I suppose when you're living in Kilkenny, it's hurling is it's just part and parcel of the whole thing here, and just great days. And
Charlie, it was a vintage. Can I just come in? It was a vintage era really for Kilkenny, because I think the full forward line had yourself and DJ. Henry Shefflin was in the team as well, and we mentioned John Power as well. I suppose after losing it in 98, losing in 99, hate to remind you, but I suppose making the breakthrough when that Kilkenny team made the breakthrough.
Look at it. It was because, look, I had been on the panel in 91 and 92 and won All Ireland in 92. I was a sub at the time, but then I had broke into the team in say, from 95, 96 onwards. And, you know, we had gone 5 years without getting to a final. We hadn't won a Leinster final in a few years, Offaly and Wexford had taken over, you know, in Leinster. And, you know, we got to the final in 98 and the Grey Offaly team came in the back door and beat us. And that was hard to take, but obviously, then we went on to play Cork in '99, and that was probably one of the poorest All Irelands of all time, but a real wet day. But, you know, they turned us over by a point. I think we were 4 points up with about 10 minutes to go, and they turned us over by one. And now that was a sickener, all right. But look, we bounced back the next year, and, you know, Brian didn't have to say much next year. It was kind of player-driven. He was there, obviously, and managing it, but it was really player-driven, and you know, it was great to get over the line eventually, you know.
Well, race 6 on Thursday, Barry, you've been looking at it, and hopefully you'll have the winner for us.
The one I'm going to fire into the mix for race number 6, Dave, is actually Jericho de Bon. Cheap piece for the first time for Philip Fenton. And it was on, I think it was Red Mills Day last year. Philip Fenton had a winner at Gowran Park at a massive, massive price. And horses tend to absolutely love the ground conditions when it's soft. And it's Jericho de Bon. I thought was a very, very interesting runner in that race 6 on the card. Cheap piece, as mentioned, for the first time, 11 stone 2. Niall Moore taking a further £4 off. And I think it could be handicapped to run well, Dave, on just its 17th start over hurdles. A nice bit of experience, but still it could be more to come, I think, on Philip Fenton's horse in race number 6. Just back to the big one. Obviously, Boylesports have kindly put up, of course, a charity bet, €50 charity bet for each of our panelists in the Goffs Thyestes Chase. What are you going to go at 2025?
A quick look at Barry, and the horse I'm going with is Yeah Man. I know he might be favourite, but 6 or 7 to 1. Gavin Cromwell's in great form at the moment. Keith Donoghue is down to 11-1 to ride him, so I'd say Keith won't be having too many dinners for the next couple of days, I'd imagine. And you know, he's won over 3 mile and he's won over 3-4 in Haydock the last day on heavy ground. And knowing Gowran Park, you'd want a horse that's well able to stay. The 3 mile one next Thursday. The forecasting a bit of rain for the next couple of days, so the ground is going to be heavy, soft to heavy anyway. So look, you'd always have to respect what Willie has in the race, and he has Nick Rocket there with Paul riding him, and maybe down the bottom there you have Gordon Elliott with Will Do, who Sam Ewan is riding, and Sam is riding out of his skin as well. I suppose an eye-catching one was Shannon Royale with Mark Welch legged up on him, so I know he's in the first time in the handicap, so you know he could be anting, but he's thrown into a handicap for the first time. It's not always the easiest. The hurly-burly of a handicap is your first day in Gowran Park mightn't be the easiest. So look, all in all, when I went through it, I'm going to come down with Yeah Man for my charity bet, Barry.
Excellent, brilliant stuff. And Charlie, listen, thank you so much for your time and coming on with us this week. We look forward to seeing you on Thursday on track in Goffs Thyestes Day.
No problem, lads. I'll see you in Gordon.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds have taken owners all over the world.
Tiger Bell in front, holds them. Late on the scene is Dawn Charger storming home, but Tiger Bell in front and won.
Coming through the centre, Laugh a Minute with a strong challenge on his Laugh a Minute, who goes on in the closing stages to win by a length and a half. Laugh a Minute from Fiscal Roots.
But it's Harry's Bar repelling the late challenge of the stable companion Dream today, and Harry's Bar makes it 6-course wins.
Check out ShamrockThoroughbreds.com or click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description to learn more about new racehorse ownership opportunities.
Yes, well, we're coming to the end of the show, and Barry, what a show it's been, and we're coming to the time where we give our best bet selections for Thursday.
Absolutely. And David, look, a massive thank you to absolutely everyone. And I suppose don't forget you can still enter enter the competition, of course, a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Goffs Thyestes Chase on Thursday. Just let us know your Goffs Thyestes Chase winner down below, and let us know why it's going to win as well. And of course, we are going to give our best bits very, very shortly, Dave, on Thyestes Day. But just to briefly reference the bumper race 7 on the card, the PJ Foley Memorial National Hunts flat race, the 428 contest. And look, there's absolutely zero to go on in terms of form here, Dave. But I thought an interesting runner definitely in the race is, of course, Silly Mongoose. for Pat Foley, local, of course, to the track. John Gleeson on board, taking off the £3. But definitely, I think the one to be with in the bumper is the Gordon Elliott's trained Reckless, and cost a pretty penny. Not a whole pile to go on in form, but listening to Busty earlier on in the show, quite keen for a big run from the Gigginstown runner. And of course, by Dr. Dino, certainly has the pedigree. I think this 4-year-old bumper, big chance, I think, Reckless in the concluding race. And could be a good day for the favourites, Dave. But yeah, best bets on Goffs Thyestes Chase Day. I know you're quite keen on Yeah Man, Dave. And is that going to be your charity bet for the show?
Yes, I think so, Barry. I think he's got an outstanding chance in the big race on Thursday. I think a lot of things are ticking the right boxes for him. And yes, that's where my charity bet is going on Yemen on Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought, of course, Henry Bromhead's runner in the opening contest, that has to be on the shortlist for best bets. That's definitely a bet, I think. Hidden Valley Lake as well, Dave. I think that has a big chance in the Gallamai. And yeah, man, is my charity bet, and really looking forward to seeing how that one gets on. And as mentioned, well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations down in St. Mullins and in County Wexford if this one can get the job done. Was backed earlier on in the week, and that is my number one pick. I think should start favourite. And yeah, man, in the big race, the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025.
Yes, and of course, it's going to be a cracking day. You'll be back with the road to Cheltenham next Monday for Champ.ie. But thanks a million to all of you who've watched this very special show. And all roads lead to Gowran and County Kilkenny this Thursday for Goffs Thyestes Day.